Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Savvy Cast. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, I am so grateful that you're tuning in. Today, I have a friend that I follow on Instagram. I just think she's the cutest, and I feel like if she were my neighbor, we'd be at the fence all the time. She lives here in Gardendale. She's the cutest thing ever, and
thank you so much.
I would like to introduce my friend, Katrina Marie of K Marie Kitchen. That's her trade name. Katrina, thank you for being on the Savvy Cast.
Thank you for having me, Jamie.
Well, I don't know how long we've been following each other, but you know how you just meet people on Instagram and you're like, oh my goodness, I love following her. And I just love following you. You are always happy, cheerful, and you can cook, girl. So
thank you.
We're going to talk food today. So I'm excited. And I do have to say, I see that you and Wine and Dine with Jeff are now friends. And isn't he the absolute best?
He is.
I love him. I want to go to California.
We need to take a trip.
Let's do that. And then let's get him down here in the South too. So,
oh, y'all, he would love it.
He would. So, okay. Well, Katrina, before we dive in and talk about all the great things you have going on, I ask all of my guests this icebreaker question. What would you choose as your last meal?
I've read this question ahead of time, and it's hard for me because
I know it's hard for me too.
I love pasta. I love chicken. It's so many different things. But if I had to pick, it would be some type of chicken meal, I would say, because that's the meat that I use the most. Yeah. So I will say something with chicken, baked, fried, chicken and waffles, something with chicken.
Okay. Yeah. Fried chicken is one of the two. It's either that or just great pulled pork or chicken barbecue. But yeah, it's hard for a Southerner to pick between barbecue and fried chicken. But okay. Well, Katrina, tell us about yourself. Who is Katrina and what is K Marie Kitchen?
Well, my name is Katrina Marie Adams, and my blog, that's how I got my blog name, In the Kitchen with K Marie, from my first name and my middle name. Mm-hmm. And my sister actually gave me the name idea because I had several ideas written down, and she was like, no, I don't like any of those, because it was something with diva or something similar to words I used a lot. Yeah. So she was like, find something that you can grow into. So anyway, I'm glad she helped me come up with the name. But I started my blog because I love cooking and entertaining. So, and I always have people asking me for recipes and ideas and how to make things. So that's how my blog got started.
Oh my goodness. When did you start your blog?
I started in 2000. Hold on, I can't remember. 2015.
Okay. I started mine in 2011. Are you like me? Do you look back at those early posts and you just shudder and you almost want to take them down? Maybe not mine, or like the pictures are awful. Everything's so primitive.
Yeah, I've learned so much. Yeah. And still learning.
Me too. But it sounds like you were very similar to me in that you just wanted to share great things where food, hospitality, and entertaining were concerned. So
yes,
I can tell by all of your stuff that you know how to cook and you know how to throw a party. And
well, thank you.
Where did you learn that?
I can honestly say it's naturally in me. The cooking started as a little girl, and because my mom is one of 16, and
I know 16 children.
Yes, my mom's mother she passed away like 3 years ago, but she was almost 93, and she cooked until she was 90.
Okay. I bet she was something else. 16 kids.
Yes, 8 boys and 8 girls. But growing up, I watched my mom cook for 4 girls with love and passion, and like going to the grocery store. I know it can be kind of maybe silly to some, but I loved going to the grocery store with my mom on Saturday because I grew up in Indiana. But I'm born and raised in Indiana. And even when I would come to Alabama for the summer, the grocery store Saturday trips with my grandmother, my aunts, it was the big deal. So
I love that. Tell me where you went. That was a big deal to me. And I have one specific grocery store that sticks in my mind. Which one was yours?
when I was here in the summer, most of the time we went to Piggly Wiggly.
Oh my goodness. That was me. I went to Piggly Wiggly with my grandmother.
Yes.
And I want to tell you, now I do love Publix and I do love Fresh Market, but there's something very unique about the pig. And
Piggly Wiggly.
yeah, I wish there were a Piggly Wiggly like within a few miles of me. Now I still go to the one in Homewood and Riverview, but it's awesome. And so you have
Yes.
memories of, so would y'all go as a group, your mom and your aunt, that like there's
Often, yes.
Yeah.
If because I would come here almost every summer as a kid growing up. So my aunt, somebody would usually take, my grandmother to the store on Saturdays. And we were, some of the granddaughters were right there, helping. So, but yeah, my mom, that's my mom's side. I have a big family on both sides. My dad is one of 13.
You have got a big family. I bet your family reunions are amazing.
Yes, it's really big and always so much fun. And my dad, my name came from 2 of my aunts on my dad's side.
Mm-hmm.
Joyce, one aunt is Joyce Katrina, and then the other aunt is Ella Marie. So my mom took the 2 middle names from those sisters and made my name. And they both love to cook. So that's why I feel it's just like really, naturally in me, because with the cooking from my mom's side and then my dad, it's just
it's natural. So you never
natural.
had any formal culinary training, nor have I, but you just sat at the feet of some of the best. That's the way I always say it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so if you were to describe the predominant way that you cook, would you say Southern style, soul food, meat and three? Mine is really, I'm a soul food cook in my element. I can whip up turnip greens.
Any type of greens
Any
and soul
type,
food.
yeah, greens
Okra.
and peas and okra, all of that kind of stuff. What's your modus operandi?
I say that I'm Southern and traditional with a modern twist, because I know how to. Earlier, I would say, when I first started cooking, like when I was in college, because that's how I got to Alabama. When I graduated high school, I went to Alabama State University in Montgomery. And then when I graduated, I moved to Birmingham. But I've always known how to cook, basic things, I'll say, like spaghetti and tacos and, things like that. And then as I got older, I started learning that, like, one of my cousins taught me how to cook cabbage over the phone.
Oh.
And she explained to me in such great detail. I got it just like that. So from there, everything, like once I see something, like the first time I made dressing, my mom taught me how to make it, and I remembered the consistency and what goes in it. So I'm trying to come up with a recipe, but there's no recipe because I just remembered the consistency.
Okay. So you basically, that was one of my questions. Are you a recipe girl, or do you, as my grandmother played piano by ear, you sort of cook by ear or touch or visual? And
for something. Yes. Yeah. Baking, I bake a lot too. And that's what people say, what's your favorite? And it's hard because I love for making, and I think the love that I have for cooking and the event planning, the decorating, it all goes together, because everything, it starts with the invitation. As I tell people, I do classes at the Gardendale Library, and I tell them that it starts with the invitation, and then from the invitation, it's your menu and everything just all goes together. But I love everything from making cocktails to baking and cooking, dressing, greens, it doesn't matter, meatloaf, whatever. But I will say with the baking, I go by recipes because I've learned that baking is just like a chemistry experiment. Yes, and you have to have everything just right to get it to come out the same.
I totally agree. There are so many variables in baking, whether it's a sweet bread or biscuits or cake. Now, our grandmothers and great grandmothers, maybe they didn't follow a recipe, but they knew the science. They knew they knew how to do it. But I'm like you. And I will tell you this, my grandmother that was famous, both my grandmothers were great cooks. One of my grandmothers was literally famous, all who knew her, for her cornbread dressing, and she made it, and like you did, the consistency or whatever. But my mother watched her for several years in a row at Thanksgiving make it, and she copied the recipe. And I will say she's got it, and I did put it on the blog, and I will share it with you because I will say it's awesome, and it's not mine, it was hers, and I'm going to get a lot of your recipes too, but
well, it's yours. It's family tradition.
Yes. Okay, well, I want to ask you, I know that you've had recipes published in Delish, Taste of Home. What are recipes that you are pretty much known for, or that you're like, wow, I'm proud of this one?
Will say it's starting to become my lemon pound cake because I'll say our lemon pound cake because my mom taught me how to make it. Yeah. But I submitted it last year for Delish for a contest and it won. And then I just found out last week I won another contest for a local Alabama magazine for the lemon pound cake. So I'm known for, and I know you asked me with my family as well, what am I known for? What's a popular recipe? Now, I've been making, because I'm working on a no-bake dessert cookbook. And it's one recipe in the book that we have been making. And I know this because the first time I made it, I was in college. And my cousin was expecting, and we both love Oreos. So we stayed up all night making this dessert. And her son is 16 now. And my cousins they still ask me, especially the younger ones, Katrina, you didn't make the Oreo dessert? You didn't make the Oreo dessert? Like they love it. And it's the dirt. Some people call it dirt pudding. Yeah.
Okay, yes. With the pudding. Yeah. Oh, that is so crazy good.
It is.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay, now I've got to circle back to this lemon pound cake. If you won both Delish and another for because I used to enter a lot of cooking contests, thousands and thousands of people enter those. So if you won, this has got to be pretty awesome. Do you share the recipe on your blog, or are you waiting to?
It is. It's on my blog.
Okay. What makes it so wonderful? Is there a secret to it? Because there's a gazillion pound cake recipes, but I know you've got to have something different.
To me, after learning, because I didn't know any other way of making pound cake without melting butter, because that's what my mom did, so as I started looking into cookbooks more and learning more, because I know that recipe with my eyes closed, and I didn't know anything about, like I say, doing it any other way. So I will say the secret is the melting the butter and the Miracle Whip, which makes it moist.
Oh, you've got Miracle Whip, like the Miracle Whip mayonnaise.
Yes. And I haven't tried, because that was a question that a lot of people ask, is can you use
real mayo?
Yes. And I'm sure you can. but because I know you asked, am I a brand snob?
Yes.
And
Okay.
that was one of my answers. Like,
Well,
I grew
Katrina,
up with Miracle Whip, so that's all I use.
now Katrina, refresh my memory because Miracle Whip is like in a mayonnaise jar. Is it mayonnaise? What is
Yes, it's similar to mayo. They're both, in the same
it's
area.
just maybe a different consistency, just a little bit
It's
different?
it's pretty similar to me.
Okay.
But some people say, and I know this may sound funny, but I actually don't use mayo or Miracle Whip on sandwiches.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say, but I know a lot of people that like it on their sandwiches because, of course, I eat chicken salad and I eat things that have it in
it.
there.
Mhm.
Yes, but it's hard for me to say, oh, I can tell the difference because I don't eat it,
Right.
besides it being in something else. But some people do tell me that the Miracle Whip is sweeter to them.
Okay. Well, I only use Duke's and I only put it on a BLT, a fresh tomato BLT. Other than that, I'm like you, it has to be mixed in. But now
Yes.
I want to ask you a question on the lemon pound cake, then we'll move on. You have
Okay.
melted butter and you have Miracle Whip. Do you have any shortening?
No.
Okay. So, wow, I'm trying that pound cake. That sounds so yummy. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, so that's one of your award-winning ones. Okay.
Yeah.
What about your favorite or people who are around you? What do they ask you to make the most? Like as far as a main dish that you make really exceptionally well?
My key lime cake too, because my family, they always ask me to make a dessert.
Yeah.
Usually I make, of course, different things, but key lime cake or banana pudding.
Oh, okay. So your banana pudding now, do you do where you make your own custard or do you use the?
I use instant. I use
Oh,
the instant pudding. Yeah.
you know what? I'm just going to be honest. Now,
You
I
don't
know
care for it?
no, I don't like when people make their own custard. I don't, I
Oh,
think
really?
I think it tastes eggy. I like the instant pudding.
And it's a preference because I know like my stepdad, he cannot, my mom makes it both ways because of course he loves it homemade because that's what he grew up with.
Yeah.
And it's okay. To me, it's
But
not
instant.
Yes, I do.
Okay. That's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to ask you before we keep talking recipes, do you have a favorite celebrity chef or Instagram cook or somebody that you just love following and watching what they make?
It was so hard for me to pick one because there's so many, on social media, but there were two that inspired me when I first, because even before I knew how to set up my website or anything, it was a blogger I came across, Divas Can Cook Too.
Oh, I love them. Oh my goodness. Yes.
I came across her website. Yes. And she inspired me because everything I saw, on her website and on her blog, I'm like, this is what we do, my family all the time because we always have family functions. So she inspired me. The Six Sisters inspired me too. That's Six Sisters that have a blog and they have several cookbooks too.
Now I love them too. Yes, they are Six Sisters. Yes.
Yeah, those are two of the bloggers that inspired me.
Yes, those are both great websites and great recipes. So, okay, now I know you live in Gardendale. I'm in Birmingham. We're fairly close.
Yes.
Where are your favorite places to dine out if you have a night and money's not an object? Where do you want to go?
One of my favorites is Fleming's.
Yeah,
I love Fleming's, and I like Perry's.
It's one of my favorites.
Those are two of my favorites.
Do you always get steak when you go there?
At Perry's, I love the pork chops. I know it's very thick, but I do love the pork chops I like the pork chop bites even better because it's not as, big. But that's something I love from Perry's. And then at Fleming's, it'll be the steak or chicken, something with chicken. But I love their the Fleming's potatoes. That's one of my favorites.
Too. Those are so good. Their sides are so good. And
yes.
You can rack up a bill really quickly getting a lot of the sides.
Yes.
It's so good. I will toss this out, and those of you who don't live near a Perry's, this may not really apply, but this is a neat thing. I don't know if you know that if you go on Fridays before 5, they have a smaller dinner menu, and instead of the 7-bone pork chop, it's 5. Or if it's a 5, but it's like 2 chops less of the pork chop, which is way more than enough for most women. But I love they have a fabulous pork chop. But what does a typical day of cooking look like for you? Do you cook every day, or what?
I don't cook every day. I cook maybe, I want to say 2 to 3 times a week. It just depends. Like today I have to make some lemon bars for like a catering event later. But as far as making the actual, meal, I won't be cooking anything. And so today is Tuesday. So last time I cooked was Sunday.
Do you meal prep at all? Like make anything? Like, I'm not a huge meal prep, but I'll make boiled eggs and maybe some chicken and chop some veggies, especially when there are more people at home. But do you do that at all, or you just cook as needed?
Well, a little bit of both, but because I try to, of course, like on Sunday, if I do something on Sunday, I'll try to make it, where it's something that I can eat off of through the week.
Yeah.
So I won't have to cook every day. But I don't have any kids yet, and I'm not married yet. So it's, just
cooking
kind
for
of whatever. Yeah.
And there's advantages and disadvantages. My husband's gone all this week, so I'm cooking for one, and it usually ends up going out and picking something up a lot. But it's great because you do whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
But okay, so because you are a cook, I love to know, what is the kitchen workhorse that you use the most? Like, I will say, honestly, when I'm doing my Southern cooking, that Instant Pot, I do my collards in the Instant Pot. I do fresh and frozen peas, so much in my Instant Pot. But then I love the slow cooker and love the, Breville Smart Oven. What's your go-to? Oh, and cast iron skillet. I can't live without that. But what are some of the things that if somebody said, Katrina, what is a must-have if I'm going to cook a lot?
For kitchen gadgets.
Or cookware. Yeah.
I love my cast iron skillet too. For one, my grandmother gave it to me. So I love that. And I love my air fryer.
Which one do you have?
Oh, I think it's Gourmet is the brand.
One. It's like, okay.
But I went for a while without the air fryer, and I still don't have the Instant Pot. I need to get it because I've watched you with this, in your stories with, like you say, with your collards, they look so good. But the only reason I held off for so long is because I have a crock pot and some other kitchen gadgets, and I don't hardly ever use them. Like I use my hand cake mixer more than I use my KitchenAid. So I was like, I don't want to get another gadget, and I don't use it much. But I will say, after getting the air fryer last year, I was like, oh my gosh, this is,
What's your favorite thing to make in the air fryer? What's the best thing you've ever made in there?
So far, chicken, any type of, like a hen or a whole, because to me, the way you can cook your hen or a whole chicken, you feel like you've bought a rotisserie chicken.
You do a whole hen in the air fryer. How do you do that?
Yes. I actually just did a recipe for it for local chicken magazine in Montgomery. I do recipes for them, but that's my submission. So I'll be sharing it on my website soon. But it's so easy. You just spray the basket, the inside with the oil. And I use some type, I use canola or olive oil. and I spray it and season it and rub a little olive oil on the whole hen or chicken and season it with really whatever, whatever you want.
Whatever flavor you want.
But I've used lemon pepper. And then if I want kind of more of the traditional regular, I'll use different Mrs. Dash and different seasonings, salt-free seasonings. But yeah, you cook it 25 minutes. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh my goodness. I feel like I just bought a rotisserie chicken from Publix.
Okay, 25 a whole hen or chicken. Now, do you get the smaller ones, smaller hen? Yeah. A smaller hen, yeah. And you do all that. And what temp do you put it on for 25 minutes?
390.
390.
I've actually done 390 and a little higher. Depends on how crispy you want it to be.
Okay, and that will get it to 165.
Yes.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah.
I did not know. Well, I'm gonna try that for sure. Well, so you do provide catering. You cook for events?
Yes, not many, but I do because it, like I say, I started off just sharing recipes and I was promoting my first cookbook. And when I was promoting it, people were like, oh, we want to taste things. Yeah. So I had people, ask me, can you bake me a cake? Can you do this? And can you cater for a baby shower? So I just, that's how I got started.
So you just, do you sort of pace yourself, just do it if you have time? And
yes.
Because that could become overwhelming if you were starting to take a whole lot of orders, and because party planning and catering, that's something else.
It's a lot. Yeah. Because let me see, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Like almost 2 weeks ago, I had a dessert table to do. And I had dessert for that Friday and Saturday. Friday, I did a sheet key lime cake and a 6-inch cake, both key lime. And then that Saturday, that was Friday. And then that Saturday, I had to decorate the table. And then I did banana pudding, peach cobbler, and red velvet.
Oh my, you did all that and you decorated a table.
Yeah.
I'm super impressed.
Yeah. But I just, I had everything planned ahead of time. So Thursday, I baked the key lime for Friday. Friday, I baked the red velvet for Saturday. And then with the banana pudding being instant, of course, that was easy to make.
Yeah. So you have a cookbook.
Yes.
And it's available on Amazon. And does it have every type of food in it, or is it just desserts? What all?
It's actually, it does have a variety. It's a collection of recipes because before I even had my website, because I always come up with ideas. So I'm writing on my tablet and I'm still working. And I was like, okay, I could do this and I could do that. And I came up with the idea to, knocking out cancer in the kitchen. So it's dedicated to one survivor that I know, and one of my childhood friends, her mother passed away from cancer. So it's dedicated to those two ladies.
That's
and
wonderful.
It's a variety of recipes that people actually submitted to go in the book.
Oh, okay. I love that. I'm going to link to that. Before we wind this up, where would you like to be, Katrina, in 5 years, 10 years? What's your dream?
5 years, I want to be working full time with my brand. I want to be doing it full time, and I want to be just continue creating and using the gifts and talents that God blessed me with. But like I say, I want to be doing it totally full time all the way. And 10 years, I'll say I will be full time. and I'll be married.
Yeah. With some little children and
with the family, and continue creating memories through meals and carrying on our family tradition that my mom instilled in me.
Well, I just think it's wonderful that it's so neat, your large family. I think that's so special, but how you are continuing what the generation before you passed down. And I just love seeing people like you. That's why I do what I do. I love keeping food on the table, cooking at home. I love keeping that relevant in today's society when so many people just would rather go get takeout,
grab a bite to eat.
Right, because maybe they weren't taught. I love it that you and people like you share your skills out of love and just out of giving. And I just think it's great. And I'm just so glad that I get to follow you. I think you're precious. And
thank you so much, Jamie.
And one day we're going to have to meet for coffee, and then we're going to get Jeff. We're going to get wine and dine with Jeff down here, our in California. But well, Katrina, and I'm going to share with everyone in the show notes how to follow you, how to get your cookbook, and to everyone listening or watching, I highly recommend that you follow Katrina K. Marie Kitchen. Is just a wonderful source for Southern food and hospitality. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for taking time out of your afternoon. It was my pleasure, and I hope
to
connect with you again.
Thank you.